Well, good afternoon. Jim Whitehead here of All Power Group and Phoenix Animal. I hope you're having a good Saturday. We like our weekends, although I like just about every day because I do work on weekends and during the week. Anyway, today we're going to talk about how famous moms or how wild animals raise their young. Animals have a wide variety of ways to raise their young, each adopting their specific needs and environments. Here is a breakdown of some of the common strategies. Okay, 1, parental care. Feeding. Parents may provide food directly, like birds regurgitating food for their chicks, or teach their young how to find food, like a mother bear showing her cubs, which you can see here, how to fish for salmon. So she said, all right, kids, gather around. We're going to tell you, and she says, you're going to like this. So listen. And I know some of them are looking the other way, yada, yada, yada. You know how kids are. Anyway, we want to show you in the stream that's kind of near us how you're going to catch salmon so you have good, healthy food. Parents often protect their young from predators by guarding them or hiding them or teaching them defense mechanisms. Now, in the same point, some animals build nests or dens, and what you're looking at is definitely a den for a mother bear and her cubs. And if that doesn't look like a safe location, area, in a cave, in a den, I don't think you could find something better. Anyway, they show them, and build a shelter for their young, keeping them safe and warm. Now, we could also even say, and I know we get into when bears hibernate. Of course, they can't hibernate when they have little ones around. Obviously, the little ones aren't going to hibernate, and she needs to be there to feed them. So anyway, that's how that works. Now, the other thing is parents teach. Parents play a crucial role in teaching their offspring essential survival skills such as hunting, foraging, or social behaviors, like be friendly with other bears and they might give you food. And I don't think it's meant in the same where we think of social media. But anyway, you can see here, Mother Bear is right with their mom, and she is showing them how to catch a fish. And probably salmon. I'm not sure what that is. Now, what we also get into are levels of parental and what they call investment. Minimal care. Some animals, like certain reptiles and insects, lay eggs, and they just leave them to hatch on their own. The young are independent from birth. I don't know if that's good or bad, but, we all have instincts. The neatest thing with animals versus humans, we have instincts, but a lot of times we bypass them, or we think that maybe we're imagining things, so it's not as concrete in humans. But in animals, they have such good instincts. And yes, their mother says, and dad, says, hey, let me show you how to do this and how to do that, and don't forget how to do it. Or they show them again. Anyway, the other second category is moderate care. Many birds and mammals provide care for their young for a period of time, but eventually the young become independent. We get it. And I know they would be missing their mom anyway. Now there's the extensive care. Some animals, like elephants and primates, have a long period of parental care with offspring staying with their parents for several years. I know we have some where some people say, hey, you know, I have my son and daughter, they're still in my basement. and they're going to be here for years. Anyway, okay. Now we have different parenting roles. Now, maternal care. In many species, the mother is the primary caregiver, as she is the one who gives birth and often provides milk. Paternal care, in some species, the father plays a significant role in raising the young, such as guarding the nest or providing food. Now, by parental care, both parents contribute to raising the young, sharing responsibilities like feeding, protecting, and teaching. Alloparental care. In social species, other members of the group, such as siblings or aunts, may help care for the young. Now, examples of unique parenting strategies, as you're looking at, are the emperor penguins. And I know I love every animal I see, and I don't even want to say I have favorites, even though I do, but I love them all. Okay, in this particular case, the female lays an egg and then leaves to sea to forage for food while the male incubates the egg for months in the harsh Arctic winter. Wow, what a job. So with, in this case, the mom has the eggs, the dad sits on the eggs for a long time, they hatch, and the mom hopefully comes back with plenty of food for everybody. Now, let's talk about orangutans. I love them too. Mothers stay with their young, you can get a kick out of this, for up to 7 years, teaching them essential survival skills. Okay, we love elephants. They're so big, they could really, as we would say, push their weight around, but they don't. They just take care of the group, take care of their offspring. So, with the African elephants, calves are raised by the entire herd, with all the females helping to care for and protect them. Now that is, and if you get into trying to say what makes more sense in raising the little ones here, I wouldn't. And I know we started out in some of it was saying where they don't do anything, and then some they do a little, and others do a lot. And then some have it where they live in the basement for 7 years. But anyway, elephants are just up there on the top of the list of being so mammoth, but being very nice, very good, very smart. They don't forget anything. So whatever you do, don't say anything bad about an elephant. or they're going to come after you. No, they won't come after you, but they won't like you if you go to them. So anyway, the next one to look at is the Jacanis. Female Jacanuses mate with multiple males. Well, we don't like that in general, but leaving the males to incubate the eggs and raise the chicks. Boy, do you ever feel like you're being used? Okay, the other thing that kind of influences the environment. The environment plays a significant role in shaping parenting strategies, and that makes sense. If they're waterborne and the animals, the reptiles, et cetera, fish, they have to stay in water. Well, that's one thing. Others where, they're out in the middle of nowhere. And there's so many good strategies that just depends on the situation they're in. And unfortunately, and I'll just bring this up as a little aside, especially with elephants. We've gotten through the elephants are wonderful. They raise their children. They work as a group, as a team, and they take care of them. Where the catch is where, unfortunately, with elephants as an example, people want their ivory, their tusks. And they obviously hunt the elephants and they destroy them, kill them. And they take their tusks. Now, that's an outside influence that is hard to predict or hard to understand. And it's not in their instincts to say, well, where I am, I'm going to have a lot of bad people, humans, coming to try to get me. So it's a variable that they could never get used to. And that's why, luckily, they have reserves and sanctuaries where they're pretty much protected. So I just wanted to bring that up as to one side point. The strategies, for example, animals in harsh environments may need to invest more parental care to ensure their offspring's survival. Predation. The level of predation risk can also influence parental care. Animals facing high predation pressure may need to be more protective of their young. Now, when we're going to talk about social structure, and I know, as I said earlier, it's not anything to do with social media, but bottom line, they work together. The social structure of a species can also affect how the young are raised. In some social species, multiple individuals may contribute to raising the young. So in conclusion, the way animals raise their young are incredibly diverse and fascinating. Each species has evolved its own unique strategies to ensure the survival and the success of their offspring. And that is wonderful, because I know it's an instinct, but I wouldn't say by any means they don't love. And I know one would say, well, just define love. Well, I know how we define it, but darn well, these animals, when they really, not the ones that just, have the offspring and just kind of say bye, they stay with them. And as we talked about the orangutans, for example, they stay, or the baby offspring can stay up to 7 years. Now, I admit that is a long time, and you hope that they are, okay for that amount of time, and that the parents are okay for that amount of time. Because again, if something happens, let's say year two, and if the instinct of the babies are that, well, I'm going to be with my mother for a long time, and the mother is killed, how do they, kind of get it together? And someone would say, well, just another species will step in. Well, that happens. And, I've done some of the presentations on animals that, and I did one the other day on Luna and Orion, where they were just, lioness taking care of or adopting, a non-lioness animal. And it's like, this is my best friend, happy person with me, happy animal with me. And, it's kind of neat, really. And this particular lioness, I did this about 3 days ago. This particular lioness, and the sad part is some of the folks that they were taking care of died, but this particular lioness would adopt another one. And it was not in character. And it wouldn't be where you'd say, well, the poor lioness is a little bit off in the head. I don't believe that. I just believe that, yes, there's instincts, but there can also be environmental persuasion or pushes that would have it where one animal might say, I know this is not my baby, but I don't have a baby right now, so I'm going to adopt that animal that I'm not related to, or it's not related to being lions, or whatever. So the neatest thing with talking about the world, the animal world, is how wonderful things happen. And it's just one of those things where we just hope there's enough open space, protected space, hidden space that keeps them where they want to be and being able to take care of who they feel needs help. And if that isn't a good way of ending, and thank you, the person who commented, or not commented, but gave me a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. This particular session, I announced it about an hour and a half early, hoping that particular format, I think I said at about 11:30 that I was going to be back here at 1:15. And, I just wanted to give more people to come on board if they could. So, I know I have some folks watching, and I want to thank you for being here. Please watch this. Please give it to your friends. We love these animals. And the other thing I'm doing with the channel are what we call podcasts. And podcasts are technically audio only. Yes, they will have a cover page in so many words. But it's typically more than one person that's in a group that talk about a certain interesting topic. And I have 4 up on my site, All Power Group. And one of them, in fact, my first one is based on cloning animals. I mean, we are doing it, but it's not too many people talk about it because it's kind of very controversial. But as we progress, we will know that there'll be other opportunities, and I'm sure hoping that I'll be able to clone, and in this case, Jamie, my wonderful 11-year-old Shih Tzu. Every night when I go to bed, I say, I pray she's going to be okay, and she's going to live a lot longer. But I also know that I've had a lot of animals in my life, and I'm still here, and they're not. So that's something that you have to be aware of. But anyway, thank you again. It's so nice, and try if you can go to some of my choices on the channel. Another podcast is on how smart animals are. Now I've done more than one, and these are called vertical live presentations, and they're in the vertical 9:16 format, and you do them live. And what's neat about doing things live is there's good and bad. The good is you don't have to, even though I say this file is sent to YouTube, it's also recorded at the same time, so that if something went wrong, and believe it or not, that's the negative part of live. You don't have to edit it, because what I'm doing now is you're seeing. So I'm not going to, generally speaking, yes, you can go back and do a little bit of editing if you really get messed up, but it happens every day. And not to me, but just any of the content creators. And I mentioned a couple days ago, Luria Petrucci. She's a very well-known YouTuber. She goes back 18 years ago, and her name was Callie Lewis, as a trade name, I guess you might say. And as she stated, she has, and I've watched her all through this. And I watch her now because I learned things because I'm doing this now. When I was watching her, I was so busy with other things. I did YouTube, but not very much because I didn't have time. But the other day, she moved to another location, and she moved from, I think, somewhere up in the Northwest, and she moved down to the Bay Area. And she had an hour presentation. I think it was Friday. That would be yesterday or Thursday. But anyway, what happened is, on her end, and this is exactly what could happen with me, I'm watching myself. I'm listening to what I'm saying, and it looks good. It sounds good. And there have been no, what I would say, mess ups where I have to go, whoops, I forgot to do this, forget to do that. And she had where hers looked good on her end, but what we were getting was, and it was where you'd say it's not acceptable. I don't mean for her, but in the sense of any of us would say, I can't put out content like that. But it was every 10, 15 seconds, it would screen would go screwy, colored lines through it, and then it would come right back to normal. But it just kept doing it every 10 to 15 seconds. And she was told about it a week ago, And this is not like, this is just saying the best of the best can sometimes not have the best. And they know, they know what is the best. When we first started this on YouTube, it's like, I don't know what the best is. I still probably don't. But, you know, the thing is, and they always say with new creators, and I even did this a little bit a year and a half ago, I would do something and I would edit it about 20 times, or I would redo it 20 times. And the veteran YouTuber will generally say, you could probably spend a year fixing that and it still would never be right. So the point they say all the time is just put it up. And that's what I do now. Although, you know, these are, this one's about 26 minutes. When I shut down and I go to listen to, you know, the presentation, and it's happened about 2-3 times where even though my audio is sounding great to me, it's looking great to me. I have a, you know, over on my right here, I can see my waveform and, you know, making sure that I'm not too loud, et cetera, et cetera. But I could now, when I shut down and say thank you, and I go quickly back and open it back up again, not in the live sense, it's what's been recorded and what's up on YouTube, and say, oh, I hope it's going to be okay. Because sometimes it's not. And as I said, if it's really bad, I literally just delete it. Because it's not fair to you to have to sit there and go through this. I mean, it's hard enough to get support. It's enough to get subscribers to have it where you're putting out something that somebody would say, I can't listen to, or I'm not able to listen to it. Now, I stayed on this presentation that Luria had done because I wanted, you know, the content's good. And we're just very interested. I think it's an internet issue because, you know, again, my internet here is good, but it doesn't mean when it's going to, you know, the service for YouTube that it doesn't kind of get messed up along the way. I mean, really, if you think about it, it's pretty marvelous. So anyway, I went on a little longer than I needed to as usual, but you know me, if you do know me, I have a tendency to talk too much. That said, and this is the last thing I will say, if you don't want to talk, you don't want to be on camera, I see it all the time. I have $1 billion from doing a faceless YouTube channel. I wouldn't enjoy it. So this is not a faceless channel. This is, you can see the face, and I'm not young. So, you know, I did grow my mustache back, but anyway, we're trying every day. But thank you. And I'm going to be at church tomorrow because today's Saturday, and I haven't gone to church in 2 weeks because first my wife was not feeling well a couple weeks ago, and then, and if you've watched me, I came down again with COVID. I've had 4 shots. I had COVID 7 months ago. I took Paxlovid back then, and I was shocked that I got it again. When I did the test and it came up positive, I went, oh no, I'm not around people that much, and it doesn't make any sense. But I did. I had it, and my doctor's great, Dr. Davis, and she ordered Paxlovid again. And the point I'm bringing this up, if you get COVID, you know, and you have to start taking this medication before 5 days of when you first, I guess, test positive, as long as you're testing yourself pretty quickly if you're not feeling well. So if you get it within that period, what the Paxlovid does is it reduces the quantity or the amount of virus that's in your body. And it works. It really does. And I'm sorry, but hopefully you learn something from these tangent discussions. But the first time I took Paxlovid, I didn't want to, and so I really didn't start taking it until the 5th day. Yeah, I was in the deadline, but was okay with there. It wasn't really exciting taking it. But this time, I said, well, let's not fight City Hall. Let's just get right into it. So my doctor ordered it. Now, I was taking it about a day and a half after I verified that I was sick. So how would you say, started the antiviral medication 3 to 4 days earlier than I did in July. But anyway, thank you. I really appreciate it. Take care. I know I always have a hard time saying goodbye, but I have to, right? They're saying, Jim, you got to shut up here. But thank you. Take care. Be well. Oh, but I'm sorry. I got to say one more thing. I'm sorry. My daughter, stepdaughter, they're over on the east coast of Florida. She, unfortunately, she has a little 2.5-year-old, and she's a nurse. She's a occupational therapist. And she's been sick a lot, and she got sick over the last couple of days. And it's one of those things where it could be COVID, or it could be the flu. Now, what you're able to get if you're like, oh, I'm feeling really sick. I mean, in other words, if it's the flu, you go this direction. If it's COVID, you go this direction. Now, they have what she took to kind of try to see. My wife told her, I said, she said you can take this treatment basically that will tell you whether it's the flu or COVID. So you don't go totally down the wrong road trying to treat something that you don't have. But anyway, little word to the wise, please be well. And thank you so much for being here.